It is clear that the situation regarding sea lions and anthropogenic activity on San Cristobal is complex. Increasing El Niño frequency is an overarching threat, not only to sea lions here in San Cristobal, but across the entire equatorial Pacific. However, small-scale pressures act as tipping points, and these have only intensified as the sea lions have migrated into the human-inhabited zone.
Well, it's important always for tourists and all the visitors that we have to understand that we are invading their area, actually, and take it from there. And we have to be very careful. I know a lot of people feel tempted to touch them because they're not aggressive. So we need to understand we cannot do that and respect the Galapagos National Park rules.
Galapagos is at the forefront of global conservation. Through current research, we can see how sea lion populations here on San Cristobal have been impacted to this point in time. Project Galapagos is an organisation started by William in 2010.
It motivated me that as a citizen here, start doing something about it. And that was the reason that we started the whole volunteer project. So later we needed to find a way who's going to help. So I was trying to get contacts, help people. For 1995, officially we had the first volunteer that actually came and said, okay, let me give you a hand on this. Yeah, at the beginning it was a little uncomfortable because people, for the first time, you're at a restaurant and all of a sudden you have a sea lion here for the taxi, the cars and all that. So it was a little uncomfortable for the community, but eventually, I think we all play, we did other campaigns about trying to, with the volunteers, that they are part of us.
We're here on Playa Man with Galapagos Project volunteers in order to follow one of their sea lion monitoring initiatives. Mark Duke helps coordinate the work and has been a major driver behind the Sea Lion project here.
As volunteers, we go onto 7 main beaches around the port between 1 to 3 times a week, but we always go before 8 o'clock in the morning, so we usually start about 5:45. That's because you get the maximum number of sea lions on the beaches, because at about 8 o'clock most of the adults will go out to swim, and then you've just got much lower numbers. Between October to December you get anything up to 800 to 900 sea lions across those beaches.
There are 2 forms of monitoring. One observes the populations, whereas one is used to document behaviour. All data collected is sent to the Charles Darwin Institute on Santa Cruz and Ecuadorian government for analysis. Through frequent monitoring, Galapagos Projects has managed to build up an understanding of how sea lions here on San Cristobal have been impacted by El Niño cycles as well as increasing tourism.
So the secondary finding on the results between October and December last year was the redistribution of the sea lions, so that the numbers had gone down on Corolla and Playa Man. So these are the 2 beaches to the left, and these are the 2 beaches that have quite high numbers of tourists and locals on them. And so there's been a shift of those sea lion numbers, huge decreases in their numbers on these 2 beaches, to the beaches, ironically, that are closer to the actual main port, but they're not beaches. So Malacon, which is all sort of rocks, has got about 3 times the numbers of sea lions on it last year than it has in any previous year.
Mark's hypothesis suggests that as the populations are now shifting away from Corolla and Man, in a similar way they did from Liberia, interactions with the community are now going to become only more frequent. With restricted space already on the Malecon stretch, only time and further studies will tell how sea lions will adapt and change to this future transition. It's really eye-opening to be able to witness the current conservation efforts being undertaken here on San Cristobal to preserve the sea lions. Research such as Mark's is producing some really interesting findings. However, without increased funding and support to organisations such as Project Galapagos, we're only really just beginning to scratch the surface of the issues here. In our final chapter, we will build upon this current research to explore possible solutions so we can help mitigate the developing threats to sea lions on San Cristobal, to help create an environment that is sustainable to both sea lions and humans into the future.